Centuries ago, a man who is supposed to be God's mouthpiece, supposed to share God's message with the people around him. He was known as a prophet. The prophet essentially functioned as God's mouthpiece. God would give a message to the prophet would then tell the people. And he was pretty good at it. Right? He did a really good job of sharing God's message with the people around him. And then God decided he wanted to send him outside his comfort zone. And to go to a city where this is probably the most godless city ever known to man. It's almost like they invented ways to break the law, to sin, to slap God in the face. But God wanted this prophet to go visit them. Well, their reputation preceded them, and the prophet chickened out. He booked passage on a ship that was going the other direction. He was a coward. Didn't think he could succeed. He actually thought that he would be harmed going over to the city. So as he's sailing away in the other direction on this ship, huge storm breaks out. He's sleeping below decks. You know, the ship's going to sink. Crew is just a mess. And this prophet realizes, I'm the reason this is happening. So he volunteers to throw himself overboard. Storm stops almost instantaneously. So, bobbing around the water, thinking, okay, this is fine. This is cool. And then a very large fish swims along. And decides that this prophet looks like a good snack. Swallows him. Somehow God enables that prophet to survive for 3 days inside that fish. After 3 days, the fish is close enough to the prophet's original destination. It just kind of vomits him up. Right onto dry land. And right there is the city he was supposed to go to originally. Prophet realizes, okay, I should have come here in the first place. So he proceeds on to the city, shares the message God gave, that they're supposed to turn away from their wicked ways and come back to God. Put God first and follow him. Decides he's going to go up on this cliff and kind of watch the city because he's thinking, other times prophets have told cities, entire cities, that they need to turn or they would burn. And when they didn't turn, they were destroyed. So he's getting a good seat, thinking, all right, here we go. Evil people going to burn. All right, maybe had some, he didn't have popcorn, but he had figs. So he's popping fig Newtons in his mouth. Just, all right, yeah. Nothing happens. Well, as it turns out, these people had actually listened to his message. And sitting up on that cliff, he's actually disappointed. He wanted some explosions. He wanted to see this entire city obliterated. Now, what kind of prophet is that? So he's grumbling, he's complaining. God decides, hey, it's a nice tree for shade, because it's very, very hot there. Gives him a tree for shade to sit under. He sits under it, and he's kind of keeping cool. Well, the tree gets eaten. And in that moment, this prophet is completely and utterly just distraught. And he starts moaning and complaining and whining about his situation. How horrible it is that this tree, the shade tree he had, is gone. And that's the last we hear of him. You see, Jonah had a good connection with God. Good, so good that God would audibly speak to him. But Jonah got so full of his own selfishness and his own desire to see people wiped out that he completely lost sight of God. And when God tried to give him a chance to atone for it, to make up for it, by giving him that tree and then taking it away, he didn't deserve the tree, but God gave it to him anyway. The people in that city did not deserve to to have God's forgiveness, but he gave it to them anyway. And next week is Thanksgiving. This lovely holiday where we sit, gorge ourselves on food, watch football, and fall asleep. And then the next day we get up ridiculous early at the butt crack of dawn to go save $5 on a DVD. For one day we've set aside of the entire 365 year just to be thankful. Are we really thankful, or are we just pretending to be? So I want to challenge you. Going into Thanksgiving, not horrible to be thankful on Thanksgiving. But God gave you so much that you might not realize. And even if you're dealing with tough times right now, if you're dealing with broken homes or messed up relationships, He still has promised to walk beside you and care for you. He's still promised to be your God. And He hasn't promised to take the pain away. But He's promised to walk through it with you. And that is something worth being thankful for.